Hey! Would you believe it? We've made it to the 100th episode of the Drinks Coach. Drinks Coach UK. You're watching on YouTube right now. This is my wife, is my pyrotechnic specialist today. So thank you very much for all the support you guys have given me over lockdown. It's almost exactly a year to the day when I actually contracted COVID-19. And it was about a month after that some friends of mine said, you've always been talking about doing a show, but you're too lazy to do one, so we're going to make you do it. And they bought me the equipment. So thank you very much, James and Chris at Cube Communications. Thank you, Claire, Sabina, all the people at Cube that helped me in the beginning. Yeah, thank you. That's lovely. So today, what we're doing for the 100th show, it had to be something special, right? So we're doing one of my favourite wines in the world, and they're the sparkling wines from Trentadoc, DOC, Ferrari Brut. Yeah, there is a car, but there's also a bubbly wine. And actually there's some not flat wines as well. But yeah, Emma, you're doing an amazing job. Okay, so Ferrari is the topic of the day. It just didn't seem appropriate to do a 100th episode without some sparkling wine. But before I start that, I want to thank Paul Scarrett of Soho Street Cocktails, who promised to sponsor this show. Emma's working very hard over there, and she's had a long day and she's a bit thirsty. So I'll make her one of the raspberry daiquiris from his range. I quite like this on the rocks, if you ask me. So I'm just going to shake this in the Soho Street Cocktail Shaker. Lovely. Just tumbler it all into a glass. There we go. That's for you, darling. Just to keep me going during the show. Keep the bubbles coming. Okay, so yes, thank you very much, Paul. These cocktails, you would have seen them a long time ago. I think in summer I did a piece on pre-made cocktails when it obviously became a thing. And they do a porn star type, passion fruit type martini. They do a beautiful raspberry daiquiri, which I've just poured for my good lady wife. And they also do a really good, not too sweet, which is the key, very well made espresso martini. And these are in 1.5 litre bags for £27.99 to the trade, or if you go online, that's 28 quid. Think about it, that's £9 a pint for proper made cocktails. So I want to thank Paul, because I think he's made a very simple range. I believe he's made a pina colada, which I've yet to try. That's been in development for some time, and he knows I love a pina colada. So really, he's just got a small range of drinks which you can train your staff, if you're in a pub, to do in a matter of seconds. Learn how to garnish it. You literally pour it in from the Magnum, yeah, it's a Magnum bag, into your bottle, shake it, and it's done. And I think for the price, there's nothing to top them at the moment. I mean, there's some very good pre-made cocktails around, certainly in the capital, but you can pay quite a lot of money for them. Where here, you're getting, 10 serves. So it works out about £2.50 a serve, which I think is incredibly well priced. So, thank you, Paul. Yes, excellent for portability. We were thinking about the fact that now people can actually go out into the common and maybe sit on a bench with one friend. Now you can sit on a bench with one friend and 1.5 litres of espresso martini. You could be there all day. So, back to the subject at hand. Bubbles. Yes, quite right. This is Ferrari Blanc de Blanc Maximum. Now, there is a wine made by Ferrari that's less expensive than this. There's a real entry level, which I think is similar quality to the Maximum, but I don't think has been as aged on lees for quite as long. So let's talk about Ferrari as a champagne. Well, it's sparkling. Oh, champagne. I'm going to get sued for that. Giulio Ferrari created a sparkling wine brand in Trent in 1902. Now, if I think about, let's say, two of my favourite champagnes in the world, Taittinger and Salon, he's older than both of those. I mean, he's been around a long time. He's only 50 years older than virtually every champagne you've ever heard of. So, amazing to think that he's been doing it for that long. And the respect that Giulio Ferrari had was second to none. There is a region in the middle of Italy called Franciacorta, which is kind of kidnapped the moniker of sparkling wine region of Italy. But the wines made at this particular estate by Rubens, shout out to their winemaker, are second to none. They've won awards beating all champagne houses. This year in the World Sparkling Wine Awards, they won Best Sparkling Wine Producer. Period. So, really, what happened? Well, he made wines back in 1902. He must have done some apprenticeship in Champagne, I imagine. And then it wasn't until 1952, which actually was a pivotal year in wine, because in 1952 was the first ever Dom Perignon. 1952 was an exceptionally good vintage. People will say, oh, no, the first Dom Perignon was 1921. But as I understand it, in 1921, all the wine was transvasaged, which means poured from one bottle into another, by the cellar masters in Haute VA at Moet et Chandon. And it was actually hand-chosen bottles of regular Moet, which were used as vintage wines, to be poured into that iconic bottle that we now know for Dom Perignon, and they were picked out just as premium vintages. But in 1952 was the kind of nascence of Dom Perignon as its own brand, with its own vineyards, etc. That year, Giulio Ferrari had decided that enough was enough. He didn't have any family to speak of that could carry on this exceptional sparkling wine brand. Nobody was either interested, or did he have the progeny that he could pass his business on to. So he looked for a successor, and a local wine merchant called Mr. Lunelli was offered the business. This bankrupted Lunelli almost. He had to mortgage everything and get money wherever he could in order to buy this brand. But he did see it as an extraordinary wine that almost certainly had a future, and he wanted to be a part of that. So the family Lunelli, shout out to Matteo and to Camilla and Alessandro, Marcello, and to Dean, Australian sales director, who's the most life-affirming, positive man I've ever met. Dino, loose as a goose. I just want to say thank you for supplying me with these wines. Emma, have a glass. This is the Ferrari Maximum. That was just a load of spittle. Cheers, darling. So when do we look at this? I've got all these lovely new flutes. Very pinprick small bubbles. The wine is made from a combination of vineyards of their own, but also contracted fruit from around Trentino. They're in the Dolomiti, right up in the Dolomites. Visuals are amazing. Emma and I went there a few years ago, and we were invited to come and visit because I won the Communicator of the Year, International Journalist of the Year, for the International Wine and Spirit Competition, where the award was given at Vinitaly, and Matteo Lunelli and his giant stand sponsored it with his posh chefs and his family and everything. So I thought, well, we'll have a bit of this. I can't remember what the phrase was. It is an ambassador to the art of living, I think I saw Matteo Lunelli say the other day on TV. Yes, Ferrari is an ambassador to the art of living well, dressing well, beautiful, beautiful things, and that encapsulates the wine. If I'm honest, so this wine, which is the Maximum, is a Blanc de Blanc. Don't pass out, please. But you're happy. It's quite fun though. I'm enjoying it.
I'm just getting to my stride.
But this wine has this incredible ripe nose. Very complex. The Maximum brand has had a minimum of 3 years on lees, which is the same as Bollinger or Taittinger or any of the great champagne houses, and indeed most of the good English sparkling wines too. There's a creamy, biscuity nose, a hint of brioche mousse, not in a rancid way, very clean, fresh, fluffy, almost Zabayon souffle freshness to the wine. It just has such a nice mouthfeel. Rubens always manages to get the silk sheets on the bed. Do you know what I mean? It's like, sulky, creamy. What do you think, Ems? Have you had a scoff yet?
I have a little one, yes.
What do you think? It's good, isn't it?
I think bubbles.
Oh my God, bubbles. You're loving this, aren't you?
Fun. Chance to get good at it.
So there you go. So the family Lunelli, they've been making these wines since 52. Matteo is now in charge. Ciao, Matteo. What can I say? We have a lovely lady, Alice Gatto, who's now a brand ambassador in the UK, who through Matteo and Dean, there's bubbles going in my wine now, honey, said, look, we'll supply you what samples we have today so you can have a really good look at this for your special 100th birthday. Look at Emma did that. Well done, Emma, darling. That's really nice. Now, oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. This is Ferrari Maximum also. Ferrari Maximum Rosé. They do have some very, very high quality Pinot Nero vineyards. Pinot Nero, Italian, aka French, vis-a-vis Pinot Noir. So this wine is 100% Pinot Noir. as I understand it. The nose is wonderfully brioche. Just have a sniff of that. It smells like freshly baked bread. It's got a really nice, nutty, spicy note. It smells like, yeah, actually smells like a cupcake's just been baked with cherries in it or something. Pinot Noir has much more of a slow build in the mouth. This wine is richer, but it finishes really fresh and clean with a large, bright orchestral flavour. It's not heavy. It doesn't kind of go at the end. It's da-da! And it starts off quiet and builds, where Chardonnay often is bright, like turning a light on when you first drink it, and then kind of glides away. But getting on to the serious stuff now. This stuff you can buy for considerably less than £25 in the UK market from an independent retailer, although they have really only specialised in the restaurant business up until now. Look at this. This is cool, isn't it? This is a chiller, right? Really cool. Very, very bling. Very Gucci, if I may say so. So, what's the step up from Maximum? Well, the step up is the brand and the level of wine at Ferrari, which I think gives it its reputation. And it's called... Yeah, we need another popper now, don't we? Oh yeah.
If you insist.
Yeah, and...
Oh,
that was a dud. Okay.
just wanna...
This is going to keep going. Felt that. This is Ferrari Perle 2014. Quite a cool vintage, which, where it might have made quite light still wines, was perfectly suited, for making sparkling wines. 2014, if I'm honest, most styles of wine initially was a freaking disaster. I say that. I tasted one of the wines that they make in Umbria from a grape variety called Sagrantino, and the 2014 Sagrantino was almost the most successful wine I tasted from any wine in Italy in that entire vintage. Chianti, Brunello, Burgundy, Barbaresco, I'm covered in everything.
Is this all the same colour?
First I was afraid, then I was petrified. Okay, so extraordinary that actually, if you're gonna have a vintage where it rained a lot and there wasn't much ripeness, then you're playing into the hands of the god of winemaking in sparkling wine territory. And you look at that bottle; it's got much deeper colour. The difference between this, the Maximum, this is, first of all, once it got to Perle, this is only fruit grown in their own vineyards. This is now a farm. This has had contract fruit. This has got only their wine in it. And I suppose in 2014 it was important they did that. But also it's been on its lees for 5 whole years, which is as long as some producers keep their vintage for.
Is it all from the mountainous vineyard?
Yeah, it's all, Emma's just asking, is it all from the mountainous vineyards? Well, actually, if you're in Trent and you look up, there's these beautiful pockets of vineyards, aren't there, Emma? On a pergola trellis. Like Japanese wine, which you shall see in episode 101, in fact. There's these trellises, so you can pick the grapes underneath. And isn't it beautiful? Emma was showing me around some of the artwork as well in Trent, and it's a must-see destination if you go to the north. Yeah, not bad for the Dolomite skiing as well. If you don't want to ski in Trentino, and there's no reason why you shouldn't, then you've also got Meran, Bozen, the Südtirol, and indeed the Austrian Tyrol, just a matter of hours away by train. So that's my tourism bit done. Wow. The thing is, this first wine, I imagine it's younger than this, but this wine has such a clean, youthful ping to it. It smells more athletic, less evolved, less adult. There's something quite sleek and fresh and adolescent about it. Beautifully linear. I would, if I didn't know that Ferrari made such good sparkling wine there, I think that wine could only have come from 1 or 2 countries, and that's probably England and France. That's really bigoted of me now that there's sparkling wine of high quality all over the world. But there's no sparkling wine this good in South Africa, although there are some very good ones. They're not this good yet. New Zealand, Australia, perhaps, maybe. But this is right in the middle of vintage Paul Roger. We're talking that sort of level. We're talking serious coin. And this wine, I'm imagining it's about £31 or £32. So 2 of these, or a bottle of Paul Blonde de Chardonnay. Well, I know which way I'd go, because lockdown's not been kind to our pockets, has it, Emma? So, nearly there. I think it's only fair to show a wine which was generously donated by Alice and Matteo. And this is this one, which is Ferrari Perle. Perle means tiny bubbles. Perlage is the mousse. but Perle Bianco Reserva, which will have been on lees for 7 years. And it's probably the same quality of wine as Ferrari Perle, I imagine, but it's been held back, which is, after all, what Reserva means. A lot of people think Reserva means it's been kept for someone. No, it's been held back for a bit longer. And look at the colour on that. 2010 was a miraculous still wine vintage across Italy. I'm thinking about maybe the greatest ever vintage in Brunello and Chianti. Very, very closely one of the greatest vintages ever in Barolo and Barbaresco and in Piemonte. And this is only that a little bit further north. So one presumes that this was a superbly successful vintage for them too. Wow. Quite the different beast. This wine has gone into what the French would call the next plenitude, and the core flavour of the wine has gone from a primary fruit in the maximum to a secondary toasty, biscuity vigour in the Perle. Now we're in Perle Bianca 2010, and then the other two super premium wines they have, which is Reserva Lunelli and indeed Giulio Ferrari, the Reserva del Fondatore at the top. A wine which they never give out. I have to see Dean for drinks of that. We have to actually be in front of them, don't we, to drink those wines, but boy, they're worth it. This wine has an intensity and power which is not a million miles away from the wine I just mentioned earlier, which is Salon. It's an age-worthy, good for at least 20 years, powerful, rich, ripe Salos, Jacques Salos, if you know the producer, ripe kind of Chardonnay style. It's almost like a table wine. I know, and this is a... I would say thank you for the glass, Matteo, but we stole it from the Fuma event that you did down in Battersea. I apologise. So now I'm payback. I'm using it on my shop. So there you have it. Soho Street cocktails. Give us a swig. I want a little taste. Shall I put a bit more of the... Let's put this in here. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. No, just not straight in the face. Thank you, Paul Scarrett. Thank you, Soho Street Cocktails. Thank you, Luleni family. Oh, that does remind me.
Champagne cocktail.
Follow me. And another thing. Ferrari is the car shampoo for the next 3 years. See you next time for Japan 101.